All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to the June 12th school board meeting. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance and the moment of silence. Everybody, please stand. Can you lead us with the pledge of allegiance?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Good, thank you, everybody. Please be seated. All right, now we're on to the certification of closed session. Ms. Kryson, can I get a roll call, please?
Dr. Kelly,
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Kelly.
Let me know if you need me to turn it down.
Here.
Mr. Reed,
Here.
Mr. Rittenhouse,
Here.
Okay, thank you. So now to the closed session actions. Dr. Gretz, anything coming out of the closed session?
Yes, Mr. Key, I recommend that the board approve student discipline cases. Sorry, can't find them now.
A through J.
A through J, sorry. As discussed and presented in closed session.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to approve student cases A through J?
I move to approve student cases A through J.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Reed to approve student cases.
second.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Any discussion? Any opposed? Thank you. All right, now on to the adoption of the agenda. Can I get a entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda?
I'll make a motion, we adopt the agenda as presented.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I got a second motion to approve the agenda. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Thank you. On to the consent agenda. Can I entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda?
I move to pass the consent agenda.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. We have a second. Is there any discussion? Or anybody like to pull anything from the consent agenda? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Thank you. All right, now we're on to the public comments. All right. I'll read this first. We're coming to time in the meeting for public comments. I'll remind everyone that by policy, only members of the community, meaning residents of Fluvanna and staff of Fluvanna County Public Schools, may address the board unless you are legally counseled representing the group interest in tonight's meeting. We welcome all community members who are here to give information and opinions. We'll ask that you come to the podium, tell us your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. We'll start with any names on the signature sign-up sheet, but we welcome your input if you did not sign up during public comment. The board will not interact with you during this time. Please speak to all board members. All right. You can come on up, Ms. Overweg.
thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Superintendent and members of the board who are present. My name is Andrea Overweg. I reside at 2 Powhatan Road. We moved to Fluvanna in 2001, and I have one daughter who attended Fluvanna County Public Schools. I'm resentful that I'm here tonight, but I'm going to tell you why I'm here tonight. Firstly, I'd like to address April 10th. I was here at that meeting and spoke out against the charter. I took great umbrage with the school board members who chose to speak out against the crowd that was assembled. I feel very strongly in the immortal words of Harry Truman, if you can't take the heat, then get out of the kitchen. It was absolutely conduct unbecoming. I have been in board meetings since Camilla Washington, Carol Carr, and Dr. Gina Keller were here. I've attended school board meetings. I have never seen the school board chastise members of the public, and I was here for those crazy meetings with COVID when the right wingers rolled the people out of their churches screaming about Biden busing in migrants with COVID and yelling about sex ed and things that were absolute non sequiturs to the topic at hand. So I am offended by that. The second reason I'm here is because FOIA has proved that a member of this board has lied. And I will share frequently and openly that I do not share his politics, but a half truth is a whole lie. And this is not a disagreement about politics. If anyone thinks this is about politics, then we have a different morality. Because lying to the public, a breach of the public trust, and abuse of power, going behind and submitting documents to the Virginia Department of Board of Education is absolutely insane. I cannot believe that transpired. And that is wrong on every level. It is wrong. It is an abuse of power. It is a violation of public trust. And so with that, I will leave you to think about this. In my opinion, I've seen enough antics from this board member. At a minimum, the gavel should be stripped from him. At the second thing that should happen, he should be publicly censured. If he had one scintilla of integrity or honor, he would resign. This is unacceptable on every level. And thank you for taking my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Carter.
Matthew Carter, 60 Woodlawn Drive in Palmyra. I'll be very brief. I'm here tonight because I'm aware that some of the other counties in Virginia have recently either left the Virginia SBA or entered into discussions to leave the SBA. And the criticisms leveled against that organization, both at the state level and the national level, can always be distilled into accusations of partisanship. And I'm here tonight to say that I examined those accusations in good faith with critical acumen, and these are just trumped up charges. There's no reason for Fluvanna or any other municipality in Virginia or any other county in Virginia to contemplate leaving the VSBA. And I hope that Fluvanna doesn't take that idea seriously, if at all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thompson.
Hello, members of the school board. My name is James Schoenster. I live at 843 Jefferson Drive here in Palmyra. And I'd like to address two things, or 2.5, depending on how you add it up. First, what might be considered the half point is my position that a charter school in Fluvanna would not be a good use of taxpayer funds. I was only able to watch the presentation a few months back, but couldn't attend. So instead, I shared some evidence with Mr. Reed on Facebook when he asked for input. My position is not a feeling, but based on the results of these programs being implemented in other school districts, it's a luxury Fluvanna schools can't afford. What we can do instead is support the special needs program we have and compensate well enough to attract good staff. Anyone who feels the school system isn't meeting their needs deserves to be heard, but I also want to acknowledge our educators aren't miracle workers and deserve realistic expectations. However, I'm not here to debate whether or not we should explore charter schools in Fluvanna. I'm bringing it up because there are some tangential issues related to the subject. Social media and the comments made by members of the board. I have appreciated Mr. Reed and Dr. Kelly's efforts on social media to provide information and promote helpful dialogue, but there are citizens having discussions as well. In some of these, I've seen some of the correspondence between our board chair and the Virginia Department of Education that were part of a FOIA request. A correspondence that resulted in heated comments at one of your previous meetings when brought to your attention. I'm not here to level accusations or question intent, but to get a clear answer. I don't think I need to rehash the content of those emails or the comments made during your meetings, so I will simply ask as plainly as I can. Does the Virginia Department of Education currently have an application under review for a charter school in Fluvanna? Do not care if we meant for it to be done. Misunderstandings and breakdown in communication over email is not something uncommon. However, I have not seen any clear resolution to this question. I think the people of Fluvanna deserve a straight answer. Is VDOE processing an application for Fluvanna Charter School or not? My second item is that of the VSBA. I understand our participation in that program is on the agenda today, and I want to encourage you to continue participating. I respect the due diligence being done to examine whether or not this is a necessary expense, and believe the results of a previous discussion were that we either use VSBA or find an alternative. The only alternative I've heard of is the School Board Member Alliance, a program York County Schools described as, quote, demonstrating a lack of moral and business integrity. Fluvanna deserves better, so until a reasonable alternative exists, please continue using the SBA. Thank you.
Tracy Smith.
Tracy Smith, I live at 2 Sandy Beach Court. 37 years in this county. I graduated here. I have a kid that has made it to high school before I reached a point that I can take no more. I stand before you a deeply concerned parent and community member at your inability to work together, the incompetence in governance, and the disrespect for those that you serve. Firstly, I urge you not to leave the VSBA. The VSBA provides us with invaluable resources that strengthen and protect our district. Not being a part of the VSBA can lead to missed opportunities for advocacy, legal support, resource access, and cost savings, all of which can hinder the board's effectiveness. A decision to leave signals a shift in the board's priorities away from overall cohesiveness to one's personal agenda. Leaving the VSBA to bypass policies or regulations that some may not agree with does not only erode the community's already wavering trust in the board, but it speaks volumes. Secondly, there is a severe lack of cooperation among board members. It is disheartening to witness meetings devolve into petty squabbles and personal attacks rather than constructive dialogue. Some members exhibit a complete disregard for others by refusing to simply address those by their title. Our children are taught the importance of teamwork and respect, yet those principles seem to vanish when it comes to your interactions with one another here. Third, your inability to handle key issues is alarming. From the charter school application mismanagement to a member not even knowing what the Abrams Academy was, the ability to execute your duties effectively is evident. These are not minor oversights. They have real, tangible consequences on our students' education and well-being. Our children deserve a board that is qualified and dedicated to their success, even if that comes in the form of a free lunch, which some of you would rather throw tantrums about than just wishing the students good luck at the end of the year. Number 4, and honestly the most troubling, is the rudeness and disdain with which you treat your constituents. Community members come to you with genuine concerns only to be met with dismissive attitudes, combativeness, and threats to be removed. Your literal role is to listen, engage, and respond with respect, not make Facebook posts or videos about turkeys with false accusations about a group of women who actually represent many of us. Some of us can't make it to every meeting. I appreciate each of them for standing up, even when they know that they will be talked about by you on the internet. When you try to silence these voices, you not only weaken the confidence in your community that your community has in you, but you alienate the very people who have a vested interest in the success of this board and vote you into those seats. In conclusion, the dysfunction of this board is a disservice to our community. I hope you reflect on your actions and remember why you were elected. We demand better cooperation, competent leadership, and respect. It's time for a change, and I hope that those of you who are here today or listening at home remember these actions when these people are up for election. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it for everybody who has signed up. Is there anybody else who would like to speak that didn't sign up?
My name is Ashley Crocker and I live in the Fork Union District. I was appalled at last month's meeting when a board member used his time not to congratulate graduates or thank teachers for all of their hard work during the year, but to go on a rant about his opposition to feeding kids who are hungry. You would think that as people who take the time to serve the children of this community, we could at least agree that no child deserves to starve, but apparently not. However, I am thrilled that next year all of our students will have access to free meals and that no child will be forced to try to focus on their schoolwork while their stomach is grumbling. I also see that there's another vote on funding for our membership in the VSBA. I hope that you will vote in favor of that tonight. To do anything else would be a nakedly partisan move that would leave our county in a worse position because there is no alternative organization that provides all of the services that the VSBA does. It will cost more money in the long run to end our membership, and as stewards of taxpayer money, I expect you to make a good financial decision. Lastly, from a certain social media video last month, it's obvious that there are a lot of misconceptions about who I am and why I'm here. So let's talk turkey. I do not get paid to come to these meetings. I come to these meetings because I am a voter, a homeowner, a taxpayer, and the mother of an FCPS student. I've only been paying attention to these meetings since December, which is my fault, but in that time, you've done a lot of damage to the public trust, and I'm not sorry that I've gobbled like a turkey about it to the people of our community. When I spend my time and money to help get the word out about what you're up to and how you're violating public trust by submitting charter school applications without a vote of this board, it's because I think it's an important investment in my community, not because it's my job. It's also clear that you can't tell your constituents who disagree with you apart from a rafter of turkeys. We are not a monolith, and it would serve you well to learn to distinguish between an Eastern turkey and an Osceola turkey. You might not hear from a lot of different faces at each meeting, but that is not because the people who disagree with you aren't numerous. It's because people are busy with their kids and their jobs, and some people feel like a turkey walking up to Thanksgiving dinner when they're walking to this podium. I'm happy and proud to be the voice of this community, and you should know that when I speak, it's not just my own opinion I'm voicing. For people who talk a lot about transparency and communication with the public, you sure do get mad when people find out about what you hoped that they wouldn't. So while you might prefer for me to go home, make my husband a turkey sandwich, and stop pecking at you, I won't be intimidated. It's important to me that my children see this mama hen actively working to better our community, and coming here, speaking out, and exposing you when you betray the public trust is something I will never go cold turkey on. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a very happy Pride Month.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak?
My name is Georgiana Joslin. I'm with the Cunningham District. Good evening. I want to wish everyone here and those watching at home a happy Pride Month. Like the others who are speaking tonight, I am concerned about the direction I see our school board heading. I'm concerned when one member of the board acts without consulting the others in the matter of charter schools. I'm concerned when another member doesn't know what Abrams Academy is when he's been on the board for the same amount of time that the Abrams Academy has been operating. I'm concerned again when emails sent to board members go unacknowledged and unanswered when the Parents Resource Guide that Dr. Stribling is presenting tonight and was signed by the board chair states, and I quote, "School board members also welcome direct communication with their constituents." Right now, there is a small movement taking place in 3 other counties involving some school boards leaving the Virginia School Board Association. The vote on this issue will happen after this round of public comments. We already know 2 board members are in favor of leaving the VSBA. I truly hope that this will not be considered as an option, as the only other alternatives are to either pay for everything else out of our budget, which is financially impossible here, or to go with a group that was deemed a not responsible organization by the entirety of York County because they, quote, "did not act in the moral and business integrity and reliability that will assure a good faith performance." This was in response to their chair and founder trying to strong arm a local school board member into voting a certain way. That's not to mention her controversial racist posts. So no, I do not want that type of organization having anything to do with our county. Hopefully this is much ado about nothing, but some concerns were raised, so we wanted to make sure our voices and opinions were heard on the matter. Now, on a more positive note, I saw on the agenda that school breakfasts and lunches will be offered to the students at no cost for the next 4 years. And for that, let me say thank you. You did a good thing there.
Jessica Jackson, Columbia District. The charter school discussion on May 8th meeting was disheartening. When one community member was talking and said the chairman's name, he told her not to address individuals and told her that she may be seated. Her 3-minute time allotment was not up, so the chair had no right or no justification to tell her she may be seated. Just because he is the chair and does not like what is being said, he does not have the authority or right to tell one to sit down when their time is not up. The chair position is not that of a dictator, but a facilitator. After Dr. Kelly had the courage enough to address his concern about Mr. Puller's interactions about the charter school issues, Mr. Rittenhouse told Dr. Kelly that he didn't want to hear anymore. He said it twice. Mr. Reed chimed in and said, "I think we should move on from the charter school issue and pack it up. We all go home and eat dinner. Let's move on." Then Mr. Keith said, "I will try to end this on a positive note. I'm a little disappointed in how the meeting turned toward the end. So he turned the conversation to tracks being refurbished. Having a legitimate discussion that may be uncomfortable does not negate the importance. What was disappointing is how 3 of you acted toward a legitimate community concern, actually 4. Yet before the meeting ended, Mr. Pullen went back to the issue of charter schools and talked about his email. Mr. Rittenhouse nor Mr. Reed told him that he didn't want to hear it anymore, nor did Mr. Reed say he wanted to adjourn the meeting. Mr. Key didn't try to redirect to a more positive conversation. So why the hypocrisy? It appears that most of you on the board feel that the chair is a dictator and support his agenda no matter what it is. If you didn't want to hear any more about the charter schools, then integrity would have dictated that the 2 of you also should have told him you didn't want to hear it. One of you should have talked about the athletic tracks again. If you're going to be puppets and have a puppet master, then it's a sad commentary on our school board. Concerns for what is best for students will never be your concern. Your concern would be just how you can give the chair what he wants. If that is the agenda, students will lose out. The charter school issue is an important concern to the community, so meaningful discussion and opinions should not be neglected or negated, even if you don't like what is being said. As a board member, I believe your responsibility, common courtesy, and civility means that you listen to others. Happy Pride Month.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wants to speak? Seeing there's nobody else coming, that ends the first round of public comments. There is a second round of public comments towards the end at number 12. All right, so on to reports. Dr. Gretz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Key, board members, members of the public. It was an exciting end to the school year. Lots of positive things happening in the schools, and many of you were there. We appreciate that. I'll highlight a few things in my report, but as always, if there's anything in there that you'd like me to expound upon, I'm happy to. Also call your attention to the CTE newsletter that I've put in there. Just I want to make sure that you access those things when we put them in. So we've got Kids College going on. That's a partnership with Piedmont. Grades 1 through 5, rising grades 1 through 5. I think we have 50+ kids enrolled in that. I'm looking at Ms. Suarez, but however many. We provide transportation. That's a wonderful program that we're able to offer. Want to encourage you to take a look at the literacy newsletter. That's another thing that comes out every now and then. And in particular, this one has some great resources for families for literacy and reading support throughout the summer. Programs available through our public library, for example. We have a wonderful training that's being offered through the Department of Criminal Justice Services. Caitlin Harlow-Berner, our coordinator of mental health services, has coordinated that. It's going to be a free training, 2 sessions, one on trauma-informed, multi-tiered systems of support, and the other on suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention. And it's available to all of our Fluvanna community agencies, partners, and staff members. It's going to be an opportunity at our high school for everybody to come together and to engage in some wonderful training to hopefully further galvanize those partnerships to support our families, all of us who are involved in that work. And I want to commend Ms. Harlow-Berner for putting that together. Summer meals, we've talked about meals. Summer meals will also be delivered, and Ms. Jones is here. She might address that later, but on Fridays, there's going to be meal kits that are available at the public library, 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches. I appreciate her work securing the resources to be able to provide that to our families. We had some very special athletes, the Fluke Olympians, that were involved this past weekend in the Unified Sports Special Olympics Summer Games. We had several students, and I'm working on trying to get them to come to a board meeting so you can interact with them in person and recognize them. But I'll just tell you, 2 teams, one came home with a gold, one came home with a silver. They stayed on site at the University of Richmond and had some wonderful life skill training, as well as obviously some outstanding competition. Teachers Nick Ward and Amy Hill took them. A lot happening with operations, as you can see. I'm not going to go into those because Dr. Stribling has a agenda item where he's going to go into some. If there are any particular things you want to go over now, I'm happy to, but I'm going to maybe skip over that until Dr. Stribling has his opportunity. We do have a lot going on. We did the staff survey, the climate survey. It's the same questions that have been used for several years. We administered that towards the end of the year, and we're going through and redacting any comments that have names of individual people. And then we'll share those with the board and with the public in July. That's our goal there. And finally, I'll just let you know, we had our leadership retreat. About 20 of us, members of our executive leadership, school-based leadership coordinators, and some other unique members of the team, that we came together for 2 days to continue some ongoing work that we've done for the past 3 years. Really stemming from, if you're familiar with the Insights Discovery tool, that it's individual team-based process effectiveness essentially. And we had some great work done with that. Further refined our strategic plan, which we'll be bringing to you. My request, and I don't think with all of you not here, maybe this isn't the time, but I'd love to find a time this summer to have a retreat where I could really go through the nuts and bolts of that strategic plan. I plan to share in the next board meeting with the hopes of you actually approving the plan for us to move forward with it officially in July. So I plan to present the plan to you in July, but to really go into the nuts and bolts of all the strategies and the tactics under the main goal areas, we're talking about an hour plus. I think it'd be much better served in a retreat if we could do that. So Ms. Kreitzer and I guess we'll reach out and see if we can find a time that would be agreeable to you to do something like that. If we can't put that together, I will be doing it in the board meeting, and then we'll be soliciting input from our public as well. Is there anything in the report that you would like me to go over in particular? Because if not, I'll probably just leave it at that. Superintendent's advisory, the staff advisory, we met at the end of the year, and the minutes from those meetings and my responses to the questions and the issues that are submitted are kept on a website that's linked there. You can see those there. Any questions that you have?
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to clarify. You want some time for a retreat in the month of June? Is that
Well, it
right?
doesn't have to be in the month of June. My plan, Dr. Kelly, would be, so we've got articulated core values, shared core values. None of this is in stone, but this is where we are with our plan so far. Core values, a mission and vision, and then we have 3 main goal areas, and under each goal area, we have some strategies and measurements associated with the outcomes of those strategies. I will go over at least the first 3 layers of that in July. That's my plan. If we could find a time this summer, it doesn't have to be in June. It doesn't even have to be prior to that meeting. Sometime before the August meeting, for me to be able to go with you, and certainly if there's a retreat with all of you there, it'd be open to the public as well. For us to go into a little more detail with the aspects of that plan, and to get some feedback from you, to have more of a discussion than I think might be allowed. Does that answer your question?
It does. I just wanted to make sure I'm out of daylight in June. So I wanted to make sure that if we were trying to find a date that we scoped in July and August. Just
Absolutely. That's
being
fine.
unwell and having plans the rest of the month. I just don't see it happening in person before July 1.
That's all I have, Mr. Key.
So on the reports B.
Okay, board members, we have several policies that have been updated. And as always, they're redlined. They're not redlined, but they're marked so that you can see what's added or what's changed. The only thing I'll highlight in here, unless you have specific questions as you've read through them, I think, and Ms. Jones, did you want to speak about the wellness policy? I just see that note there. I'm assuming that you had interacted with Ms. Kreitzer about that. You don't have to.
If anyone has any questions, I will, I'll see you.
Okay, you want to wait until
You want to step up?
do that now? Okay.
Okay, good evening to all of you. The reason why I want to discuss the wellness policy, typically, anytime you're updating a policy, you wouldn't be asked to vote on it on the same night. Tonight, I'm asking that you vote to approve the wellness policy tonight. And the reason for that is in December, January, and February, I received my federal review. During that review, there were 5 parts within our current wellness policy that was not in compliance. If you all, and we went in, made those changes, so if you go through it now with the strikeouts and the changes, it is currently in compliance. I'm asking for the vote tonight versus waiting until next month, because I would like for it to be completed prior to the end of the fiscal year. This is the last part of the federal review before it can be closed by DOE. If we wait, there is a possibility that it may, or that DOE may delay our reimbursements once we get into the next school year, and I just would rather not deal with that at that time. I don't know if you all have had a chance to go through it, if you would like for me to go through those 5 changes, or if you have any questions.
Board members, you have any questions?
Ms. Jones, I'm gonna ask you a question. What's the difference in the school nutrition program versus for a normal person, you know, in the public? That's what the policy says.
Can you ask the difference between?
Professional standard requirements for school nutrition versus serving in the public. What would be the difference?
Out in the public, meaning outside of school?
Yeah.
So the school nutrition programs that I operate, the school breakfast program and national school lunch program, they're both regulated by USDA. So USDA has several rules and regulations that we must follow in order to be able to operate those programs. So a lot of those things that's listed in the student wellness policy are rules and regulations that come straight from USDA. So it's not just Fluvanna, it would be all school districts that operate those programs will have to also follow those rules and regulations. That's why some of those would be different.
How much dairy products or milk or fruit, you know, for each food?
Yeah, so that's not specifically in the wellness policy, but that's part of the program regulations as far as what components would make up a breakfast meal, what components would make up a lunch meal, and how many of those the student would have to take as far as, you know, calories, fat, the type of vegetables, even the serving
Sodium.
size. There's lots to that.
I was just saying sodium. That's one of the ones
Sodium,
that changed quite a bit.
yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. So the, what I'll highlight for you is just the draft JFC student conduct, simply because it's changed a little bit, and pull that up, Dr. Stribling. In particular, on page 6, you'll see there's the additions. So the restraint and seclusion regulations in Virginia have been changing pretty rapidly over the past, I'm going to say 5 years. And so this reflects those new regulations about how those things are to be implemented in schools. And then on page 7, there's quite a bit about dress code. And I'm not highlighting anything for any reason other than just to make sure you're aware. Just know it's something that is discussed in the community quite a bit. So there's some changes that are, none of which are problematic to me. I support all of them. I just want you to know that they're in there. And I think that's it, really. Are there any other issues with the policies that you want to talk through? So if the board is, well, the only other thing I'll tell you with the comprehensive plan that I'm going to be presenting with the Literacy Act that was recently passed, we do have to have a literacy plan that is now a component of that comprehensive plan. Ms. Soares has done a wonderful job of leading several staff members through that. So that's just a change. No concerns there. Ms. Jones is requesting that the wellness policy, which is on first reading, I'm just simply calling your attention that whoever makes that motion would need to specifically pull out JHCF to be part of the policies. The policies that are in your action items right now were those that you heard on first reading in May. And that one is not in there. So you would need to just make that a part of your motion.
What was those letters again?
It's JHCF, student wellness. Any other questions about policy or anything you want to talk through? I'm happy to go on to budget, Mr.
Yeah, we
Key.
can go on the budget.
So with regards to the budget, the only thing that I would tell you, continue to tell you, is that we still don't have any kind of final resolution from the state on what kind of revenue we're gonna get this fiscal year. That's troubling, it's unnerving, but it is what it is. We don't have any, we can just wait. I'm not concerned about it because I think it's gonna be different. It's just this time of year, we would normally have that number and we'd be able to be modeling what the resolve of the fiscal year would look like. The other thing I'd call your attention to is in the operations. You mind opening that, Dr. Stribling? Just the expenditures revenue report. Under fiscal, it'd be under the fiscal 24. Yeah, thank you. So the number, the available budget number in the operations line, I just want to remind, we continue to say this, just want to remind you that that state construction money that was given, it was distributed last year to all divisions. That state construction money had to be carried over into this year, and it is in that line. So normally there wouldn't be that amount of money, but that $2 million is still in there. And that's what's being used with the Abrams renovation. Do you have any questions for me about fiscal 24? I'm not concerned. I mean, we are, as I said last month, we're being very careful because of the reduction that we saw due to sales tax revenue. And because of the enrollment decrease, the change in the March 31 versus the September count. But I'm not concerned that we're gonna be fine. I just would like to be in a better position to tell you in June what July might look like, and I just don't have that number from the state. And I have even less to tell you about fiscal 25. I really don't. I don't have anything to report to you. There's several supplemental appropriations that you saw. Do you have questions for me about? There's really nothing different. We're still waiting on the template from the state, and that's when we get that calculation tool. That's when we can actually bring you some substantive information, and without that tool, we really cannot do it.
Board members, any questions? Nope.
Okay, moving on to F. You have a textbook that's being recommended to be adopted, and this is the second time that you're seeing this. There was a committee. You can see the makeup of the committee. There are two community members. You can see what the books are on page 2 of that document, the books that were reviewed, and they were available to the public. So Amanda Galloway was on the committee, as well as Devin Byam. Devin is a local counselor. And then we had a parent representative, and you can see the makeup of the committee. And so based on the evaluation of those books and based on what Ms. Gillum is saying in the first page about the rationale, we're recommending adoption of these books. Do you have questions for me about these? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, and with that, we'll bring Ms. Jones back up.
Good evening again. I'm here basically just to share information with you in regards to meal pricing. I'm glad to say that this year you will not have to vote on approving meal prices since, as you all know, we will be operating CEP, so all students in all schools will receive breakfast and lunch at no charge this school year. But I did want to be here if anyone had any questions in regards to CEP or how that works or will change or anything at all?
Board members, any questions for Ms. Jones?
The
No,
only question I have, and I don't even know if it's
that's okay.
a legitimate conversation there's just been conversation in the community around us providing offerings outside of like the CEP lunch, just like à la carte items
Mhm.
that they could still purchase. Is that something that we could look into potentially, just like, and I'm just referencing what community members said, just like fruit cups and things like that, that they could come through a line, still pay for a family who wants to buy something like that if they didn't want a CEP meal. So I'm just kind of voicing that to you. I didn't know if we've looked into like extra à la carte items. or not.
So prior to COVID, all of our schools at that time offered à la carte
Mhm.
items. Of course, when COVID, the pandemic came and we came back, at that point, that's when we started the free meals and it kind of changed things. So myself and my management team, we decided not to offer any students à la carte just to lessen the confusion.
Right.
Next year, we do plan to offer à la carte again, but only in middle school and high school. The reasoning for that is because some of the à la carte items, for example, one will be ice cream, and sometimes when you get the elementary kids, sometimes they don't understand as well, you know, why their friend is able to buy the ice cream and, you know, they aren't able to buy the ice cream. Right now, I'm not looking for, let's say, fruit as an à la carte. We're mainly gonna look at what I can gain the most revenue out of. So it's mainly gonna be drinks, it's gonna be main entree items, like if it's the pizza, the chicken or hamburger, as well as chips and snacks, and then ice cream. Were you referring to like if a student just wanted fruit versus the whole
Yeah,
tray?
yep.
So
Just like something extra that they could come through and pick up and pay for it if they wanted to.
since everything is free, and a lot of times, sometimes we do have students that come in and they may say, oh, well, I just want a milk. So what we will tell them now is you only have to get, for lunch, you only have to get 3 items in order for it to be a reimbursable meal. So
Okay.
we'll tell that child, well, that's fine, you can get the milk, but then you can also just pick up, a vegetable and then just a fruit, because most kids like their fruits. And then that's all they need for it to be a reimbursable meal, and that way it'll save their parents from having to pay.
Okay, perfect.
Is there gonna be a schedule of those items or just gonna be offered every day? The offer.
It's gonna be offered every day. Of course, the entree items will just depend on whatever the entree is for that day. Some kids do actually like to come back and get second meals. And this will just give them an opportunity to just purchase that entree.
Thank you.
And then, I just wanted to bring your attention to adult pricing. Adult meal prices will be increasing. I know a lot of times I'll hear from staff members, you know, why do they have to pay more than students? Of course, we're here to provide the meals for the students, but, as far as the adult meal pricing, we have to make sure that the cost, that it takes for us to provide that meal, that we're not eating any of that cost. So we have to be totally reimbursed in the price that we charge them for that meal pricing. So of course, with everything going up, food pricing going up, labor costs going up, that's why adult meal prices are going up this year as well.
Do you know what the increase would be?
Yes, and it's actually, last year it was $3 for breakfast and $4.35 for lunch. Next year, it's going to be $3.75, which is an increase of 75 cents, and lunch will be $5.50, and that's an increase of $1.15. And a meal is a good meal. All of our adult meals would be the same as a high school meal, which would include, they would get their main entree, which typically includes their meat and their grain. They'll get 2 vegetables, which are each a half cup each. They'll get 2 fruits, which is also a half cup each, and they get their milk. So if you all have been out to the fast food places, you still can't beat that. Any other questions about meal prices or the program? All right.
Miss Jones, I just want to thank you for all that you do. I don't know if you can hear me, but I've been in every single one of your kitchens, probably about every 6 months here, and I know what a remarkable job you all do. I know that having the CEP program puts additional constraints, and you're an absolute masterclass in doing more with less. So I just want to very much articulate my appreciation for you and your staff.
Thank you. I appreciate
And I'm
that.
sorry I'm not there to say it in person, but I'm under the weather. So I hope that this will work.
Thank you. All
Okay,
right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Jones, before you sit down, could you introduce Ms. Casera to everybody? Just make sure.
Sure.
I don't want to embarrass her, but she's a wonderful addition to your
Just let you
team.
stand where you are. This is Sherry Casero. She is the manager in the high school in the cafeteria, and she's also my office manager for my school nutrition program. And I always tell her she's basically another me. I don't know what I would do if she wasn't here. So she goes around to all the schools, helps in training, all the paperwork and documents that we have to do. And I just asked her to join me here tonight, and so I'm glad that she's here and glad you all are able to be here.
Thank
you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Glenn. Mr. Chair, Ms. Kreitzer has let me know I have ironically skipped over, I promise you, there's nothing Freudian about this, skipped over C. Item C. So let's come back to that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm ready.
Okay, so last month you approved, and by saying that, I'm not trivializing that issue, I'm just trying to, offer some humor there. So the VSBA offers an agreement that you have to sign. You authorize us to sign an agreement for policy services. And then separately, they send an invoice. And that's essentially what this is. It's an invoice. The timing of this has nothing to do with what's going on in other school divisions. I want you to be aware of that. I think if you were to go to just about any school board agenda in June, probably depending on when it is, you'll find this on there because this is when they issue the invoice. So what you have tonight, what you approved last month was the actual contract for policy services. And then what you would be approving tonight would be the dues, the membership dues. You're not able, I'm just reminding you, because we went through this last year, you're not able to separate policy services from membership. Why they invoice them separately, I'm not really sure why they do that way, but do you have any questions for me about this? You know what's part of the membership benefits? The policy services are the big one that we recoup. There's legal services really associated with those policies that we take advantage of. There's training, there's board development, there's a host of other things that you get as a result of this membership. So that will be on your action items. Okay, thank you. Sorry for skipping over that.
Guess we had H operational.
Brings us to H, Dr. Stribling. So we have a lot going on as he's coming up. We have a lot going on in operations. A lot of that related to the work that you and the supervisors have done to provide funding for some things that we desperately need to do. And there's some other things going on. So, and I see that Josh is with us too.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Good evening, board members and community. Thank you all for being here. Did want to run down, there are a lot of things going on. A lot of people ask, so you get off for the summer. Not all of us, but we get things ready to go for the next school year. Great job, Ms. Jones, by the way, and Ms. Casera. So the first one, our teams at schools that include administration, school resource officers, family, parents, and staff members. They completed, I just received an email from BDOE now, DCJS, that all of our school safety audits have been completed. And then we'll do the division survey at the end of the month, and you all will review the crisis management plan. So I'll get you to come in probably in July so that we can do first read in July for the CMP and then finalize it in August before school starts. We were blessed to get $39,000 more with regards to a reallocation. We are working now to figure out how to spend that funding with regards to the requests that we had for both Fluvanna Middle School and the high school. It is limited, so it's not, we can't just do it for this or that. It has to be specific for what we did. So we're excited about that. Carriesbrook HVAC project. We are in the final stages. Crews were on site the week after Memorial Day and graduation, and we are currently working on the completion of that. FCH Field and Turf Project. I know everybody is excited about that, so are we. Thank you, Ms. Soares. We did just initiate and finalize the cabling pipe. So what that is basically there'll be a box and there's a cable that ran from the middle of the field to the press box. We had to strategically plan this so that we did it before the track got demoed and our initial turf was taken off the top. What that's going to do is it's going to help TV production be able to do wireless interviews during the games. It'll help with the class. That's what they do in a college and university setting with regards to our Flucotron. So it's really going to be relevant to our students and our student athletes. So that's a great initiative. FMS track project. So I do have some updates with that. The visiting bleachers have been removed, so that's a great thing. And we are currently working on adjustments with the drainage project. So the drainage project came in, we had done the CIP and the drainage came in after we had kind of initiated that whole CIP process. Basically right now, the scope of work for the drainage project is more than it was originally proposed. Let's just put it that way. So we have $125,000 that was budgeted and approved and given to us by the county. It's coming in. It's a bigger project. We've got 45-year-old plans, 50-year-old plans. We have a good idea of how it was engineered. Long story short, we may not be able to start that project until March or April. Has to be 50 degrees in order to do the track. We're not giving up on this spring and this summer yet. We have one proposal. We're going to get 2 more proposals to see if we can somehow get it within the framework of what we originally budgeted for. But I will keep the board abreast of that situation. So that was the bad news. Here's the great news. So we were budgeted for $290,000 worth of stone. Now, most people who don't do tracks or driveways, that's a lot of money for stone, but you're talking about a complete track and putting stone under all the track, okay? We don't have to do that anymore, okay? They have a process called full depth reclamation. And the easiest thing that I can tell you is like, it is a huge rototiller dump truck that basically will go and turn the track into what gravel is there. It reuses the materials and it'll literally go around and then they'll come in and they'll tamp it, they'll stamp it, and they'll put concrete in it and then layer it. So the good news is that's going to save us about $210,000. So instead of spending $290,000, we're going to spend $80,000. So we don't have to spend the $290,000, we spend $80,000, so a savings of $210,000. With that additional $210,000, what we would like to do is that the high school track is going to have what's called a BSS surface layer. So if you think of cars or levels, so latex is here, BS is here, BSS is here, and then there's one more level up here. The middle school track was going to get the BS. The high school track was going to get the BSS. What we are going to do is we are going to take that additional money that we are saving and change the BS to the BSS. And I apologize for those acronyms, but that's what they are doing. Basically, what that will do is it will save asphalt over time and last longer before we have to recap. So in the long run, we're gonna be saving more money. So with all that said and done, we still have $150,000 estimated that we will save on this project. Okay, now, things come up. Drainage come up. We might have to use some of that 150 in order to get drainage off the field. So those are the big updates, kind of some focus areas, but did want to let the board know what was going on. Any questions on the track projects?
Yeah, I got a couple. I don't know if you can,
Absolutely.
I don't know if you can hear me okay, and I
I
apologize.
can.
My voice isn't great. Also Zoom crashed and then came back, so I missed bits and pieces. But what I think I heard from you is some success and some cabling regarding the press box and media, and that's fine. What I heard on the middle school track is disconcerting. So I think what I heard from you is that we don't have enough cash to deal with the drainage issues at the middle school and that our project is delayed considerably. Is that correct?
It could be. We're not sure yet. I met with actually the team from Retorcan and AstroTurf and some of our individual representatives. So it is not a done deal yet. I just wanted to make you all aware that it could possibly delay our FMS project until March or April, or whenever it's 50 degrees or more for 30 to 45 days.
Yeah, so I want to poke here a little bit. So if the concern is budget related to drainage, because clearly it's 50 degrees out, so that's not a barrier right now. So if the concern is that we don't have enough budget for drainage at the middle school, why are we adding a different layer to the high school track instead of taking all of that money and fixing the drainage problem?
Because we had done, the drainage came after we had originated, and we're gonna move forward with that. The current plan is it's not gonna be done at the high school. The upgrade is gonna be done at the middle school.
Yeah, but like the upgrade to the track is irrelevant if we don't have drainage. So I guess I'm confused. So like we went to the Board of Supervisors and said, this is what it's going to cost to get the job done. Clearly projects change and scope changes. So I guess I'm functionally confused as to why we're going to delay the middle school so long. Is it that we need more bids on the drainage? Like, how far are we off? What can this board do in order to not have this delayed again? I mean, we've been waiting 20 years plus for a track at that middle school, and my perhaps naive optimism was that all of the money that the Board of Supervisors so generously gave to us would accommodate what we were trying to get done. So like, what do we need to do to get the middle school back on track?
That's what we're doing now. So that has been the process over the last 6 days. So weather is being one of them. It has to be 50 degrees or higher. We're off probably about $55,000, which based on the estimated savings we could do with the change of both the, what did I call it? The reclamation project.
Oh.
So
Okay.
we're just it's so new right now that I just needed to let the board know. Meaning, so yes, we need bids. Yes, it's dependent upon weather. But we don't want to start something. We need to do the drainage prior to doing the track. And if we can't get the track done, I'm not saying it's a done deal. I'm saying that we are in that process right now. And I've had conversations Monday, Tuesday, actually since last Wednesday, every day since then. That's just something we're working through it.
Yeah, and what's the weather consideration? It's June 12th. Is it just trying to get on somebody's books for the summer? Like it's June.
We're on the books originally. We're on the books originally for July at the middle school. It's about getting proposals now and making sure that we have appropriate funding to do the project, because we can't move forward with the track until we do the drainage. The drainage is a huge scope of work. It's just a lot different with regards to prices, manhole cover. You're talking about a ditch, 4 ditches that are gonna be 15 feet deep, possibly 15 feet deep. And it's just pricing it was estimated and it just came in well below, and the gentleman not necessarily can do it. He'd be doing it for free is basically what he'd be doing it for. So basically we've got one bid, we've got an updated bid. Talked to Mr. Hampshire via email this afternoon. We've got 2 other representatives that we're gonna reach out to, get them to come in, give us a proposal. If the bids are fairly, we need to do apples to apples. Hopefully that'll take us less than 2 weeks and we still have time. That'll put us in July with Retorquin. Multiple moving parts.
Yeah, and I appreciate you. I want you to know this is coming from a good place. You and I.
Oh, I know that. I want to get it too, Doc. I want to get it done too, Dr. Kelly.
Like just
It was a shock to me too, but then we just have to move forward, refocus and figure out
Sure.
how to do it. If we can get it done in July and get it done the right way, then we will move forward. If we are not able to move forward in July, then March and April will probably be our best bet. It's not,
Okay.
it's not a probably, it will be, because it won't be 50 degrees for
Yeah.
longer. It has to be 50 degrees, 30 to 45 days in a row.
No, I'm with you. I guess maybe the point I want to convey is I'm nothing if not an activist board member. If you need something unlocked, if we need to have a conversation with supers, I'm not your chair, but as soon as I'm well enough to go down the hill, I will. And so please tell us as a board what we need to land this by the fall.
Absolutely, and I appreciate what we've done in the past as a partnership. Definitely agree with that. Thank you.
So I apologize. I've been anxious about getting these started, and I'm sure that we can have some offline conversations about how to keep it moving.
Absolutely, and they'll start the high school project. My understanding is they'll be there tomorrow to start taking the top layer off. Excuse me, next week to take the top layer off, and the turf will start. They'll start taking the turf up either tomorrow or Friday. So that is good news, because we definitely need that done by the fall season.
We have a completion date on it.
Yeah, I want these seniors and the rest of our students to have what they need for the beginning of the fall, but I'm also, I don't want it to seem as though we've abandoned our middle school friends who have been waiting 20+ years for that.
Yes, sir. And it also depends on who you ask, Mr. Key. Some say 4 weeks, some say 6 weeks, some say 8 weeks. It really depends. Once the guys get on site, then we'll be able to kind of, and it all depends on Mother Nature too.
I hadn't checked the high school football schedule. I don't know what the first few games look like. Are they home?
I'd have to check. I've got it on my phone.
Maybe
Good call
something
on that.
thinking about. Hate for the kids to miss out on home, having, their senior miss out on home football game.
Right. Right now, the goal is mid-July.
Mid-July, which gives us 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Cushion.
Right.
Okay.
It'd be nice to be proactive, and if we can push some games to away, home, something like that.
Yes, sir. The last one, well, we'll go down a couple of those. I knew those were gonna take a little while. The vape project, we've had a lot of conversations with regards to the high school. I do want folks to know, and we'll send it out to parents in the community. We're gonna have approximately upwards of 140 vape detectors at FMS and the high school. Group Intervision is installing those. Great job by our maintenance department and our IT department working together to work with this Intervision group. It's unfortunate, but we piloted. We had a little conversation last month. We did pilot them the last 3 weeks at the middle school, 2 bathrooms or 2 detectors. We did unfortunately catch some students at the middle school vaping. It happens. That's the reality of our times today. But that also allowed us to get with that student, get with those students, talk about education, consequences for those actions, and health and wellness as well. So excited about getting those done. Those should be done by mid-July as well. And then what we have is it's a huge dashboard. Goes to your email, goes to your text. For the administrative teams, they go to the bathroom. We have video cameras, so we follow up that way. So we're excited about that. We are working on getting elementary ECSE resurfacing playground project. That should be in the works by the end of June. I know Mr. Hampshire and some administrative staff members, they held maintenance interviews this week, and actually we put in a recommendation with personnel this evening. Exterior doors, we've got multiple projects going on at Central, Carriesbrook, and FMS. I'll talk about the buses. We've got 3 buses that'll be delivered in June as well. We're getting them installed with AC right now. And then with additional CIP funding after July 1st and start of the fiscal year, we'll order another one. I would like, can we bring up the restoration, that link right there, Ms. Suarez? Thank you. Mr. Joshua Bauer, if you want to come down. He actually was offered to come in. We were just going to kind of show you what we had been moving forward. I will say, and then I'll let him take it over. This is a conceptual sketch of what our thoughts were based on the feedback that we've gotten from community members, staff, and board members last month. So thank you for coming in.
Ms. Suarez, can you blow that up a little bit?
Tools. View. Excuse me, to the left. Yep, zoom.
Thank you. Sorry, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Strickland, thank you. It's a tough act to follow. We'll see if we can keep the momentum going. So if you recall at the last meeting, we presented a couple different options. Looking at the Abrams building upgrades after comments from the community, from administration, and if you recall, we were a bit greater in the dollars to spend on the project than we had available. So what we had presented was the option of about roughly a $2.2 million project, and kind of talked about that a little bit. And I believe the request was, hey, what would that look like? And so what's important is that when we're doing any project, especially if it's going to be a phased project like we're going to talk about tonight, is the idea is we want to make sure whatever we're doing, we're not going to undo in the future, if that makes sense. So with this concept here, what we're proposing to do is to have 7 classrooms. And what we basically do is take the larger classrooms and put a partition in to be able to divide them up into smaller rooms. A couple of important things is that we would be doing new lighting, new interior finishes, so flooring, painting the walls, and replacing the ceilings, and also HVAC upgrades. And that would include both heating and cooling, and also fresh air. So if you've been in the building before, that there is heating and cooling in most of the spaces, but one thing that you do not have is you really don't have a lot of fresh air coming in. So not saying that kids can be a little funky, but they can, let's be honest. If we've had kids. So bringing fresh air in is definitely going to help with the overall environment. So with this project, what we're proposing to do is to have 7 classrooms for the base bid. They're all the ones in blue. Also improving the security to the building and doing some entrance upgrades, including having the ADA ramp up to the students entrance, and then having the ramp continue on over to the visitors entrance. So the idea is, again, the majority of folks who are coming here are students, and actually shifting that down and making that entrance. We shared a rendering last time of what that could look like, something a little more complementary to the facade of the building. This will also include 3 offices, so 3 additional administrative offices, 3 single-stall toilet rooms for the students. We talked a little bit about the challenges of the current restrooms with them being a boys and girls, and that the administration is only comfortable sending 1 student at a time because there can be the opportunities for congregation inside of the toilet rooms. So what we're showing here is that there would be single occupancy toilets that will be directly off the corridor. So again, you're going to have much more visibility to make sure that you don't have multiple students going in the restrooms at the same time. So we're showing 2 on the right-hand side over by the blue classrooms, and then 1 over on the left-hand side by the activities room. And that was a specific request of both the community to be able to utilize that space, and also for the administration. The last thing is the 4 orange spaces on the left-hand side. So these are classroom small group spaces. What we're going to propose to do is do those as an alternate bid. So we would go and design the spaces, putting the partitions in, putting the doors in, the interior finishes, the HVAC, but asking the contractor to give those as a separate price because we're not 100% sure that within the budget that we have, that we can actually do those spaces. So if we cannot, they would just remain the way they are. If nothing else out of this project, we are going to be improving the classroom environment, creating more additional classrooms, improving security and experience for the visitors, and also giving you better office space and toilet rooms for the students. So with the $2.2 million, we think this is about as far as we can stretch our dollars to improve the building. As we look forward in the future to the upgrades of the activities room, improving the stage, improving the corridor, adding additional doors, converting the one classroom into a food service or into a food lab. Those are projects that can happen in the future without undoing the improvements we're making in this project. So does that make sense? To try to be as brief as possible. Does everything make sense? Dr. Kelly, I know that you specifically asked for what this could possibly look like, and how do you feel about these improvements?
I did. Can you scroll down a little bit just so I can see the rest of I think there's some text at the bottom there. Yep. Yeah, I mean, this is certainly numerically more in alignment with what we have. You may or may not be familiar with local dynamics, but we'd be hard pressed to raise the additional funds for further phases. It doesn't mean that we couldn't propose further phases later, but I am all about a proposal that improves things now, works within our budget, provides opportunity for future phases, and improves the experience for our students and our staff. And so I do appreciate this. Clearly, we're missing a board member and there's more discussion to be had. But this is definitely the direction that I anticipated. So I really appreciate you taking the time for that.
Thank you. And yes, I am relatively familiar with the local dynamics of the county. And so we understand that again, the dollars are what they are, and that's pretty much anywhere, is that we always want to try to meet within the budget. If we can, if we do have permission to move forward, then we'll actually go into design. As Dr. Stribling said, this is simply just a sketch. So the next step would really be to go to and do a better survey with the entire team, both my team as architects and the engineers, and be able to get the documents together to be able to share them with the contractors and be able to get actual bids to be able to move the project forward. Could this project be done in the summertime? Possibly. One of the things, we do a lot of school work, and I love school boards and everything that's going on. We keep shrinking the summertime, so making it a little bit more challenging to say, okay, let's do these projects. Well, we have like 4 weeks to be able to do that. So it's, as we talked about being busy, definitely doing projects over the summer is a challenge. So this may be a hybrid of a project that is done where we have some of the projects being done in the evenings, after school's out, and the remainder of that being done in the summertime. One thing that we do want to share is that these are really addressing that this project really does address the biggest concerns from the administration and from the community as far as the upgrades go. And so we believe that we feel good about this project, and again, we would desire to be able to move forward into actual design with the board's permission when you desire. Any other questions?
Anybody else, board members, any other questions?
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Gretz and Dr. Stribling, I guess I should say doctors Stribling and Gretz, what would be our next step in terms of gaining either board or community consensus around this more pragmatic proposal?
Well, I think if there's not feedback tonight that suggests that there are concerns, then Josh and his team would move forward and bring you an actual schematic that shows exactly what this would look like. And that, I welcome you to talk about the process, but you would get a different level of feedback from the community when they actually see what it's going to look like.
Is there enough consensus on this board with 4 members present that we feel comfortable asking for that without Mr. Pullen?
Yeah, board members, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Mr. Rittenhouse?
Yeah, we could see your schematic, sure.
Yes, you can proceed.
Wonderful. Thank you, board.
Sorry, I think that was quiet. Was that consensus among the board?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And sorry, I just want to be respectful of board members that aren't present as well to make sure that their voices are heard.
Thank you.
Great evening.
Thank you.
think I'm one more after this. This will be a good one. First review, parent resource guide. We were lucky. This is the first year, very minimal changes, Ms. Kreitzer, in terms of updates with regards to policy. So what we wanted to do is make it a little more family and parent and staff and user friendly with our structure, with regards to how the parent resource guide is set up. It is online. Now we do print it off if people need it that way. But what you'll see is basically just take a look at our notes on the side, being a Google Suite and a Google App division. Take a look at it on the side. That'll be and show you where very similar to your policy, strike throughs are being taken out, underlines are being put in, and then you'll just see our resource notes. I would love to take a moment and thank the team. We had several administrators from all the schools attend a VDOE training, brought back a tremendous amount of updates, feedback, and resources. And I want to thank them for their input in this, along with Ms. Kreitzer and Ms. Cabrera at Abrams Academy. So it's been an annual event, but a wonderful partnership and teamwork to make this happen. So first read, if there are any comments or any changes or any updates, we can do that as we go before we get into July's meeting, but we'll bring it back to you in July if there are no concerns.
Thank you, Dr. Stewart.
Absolutely.
I assume this is available on the website still, correct? That's where when you say online.
Last year's is
Right.
available online. This is
Right.
draft, so this is not, this will, the new link. So that's the link that it'll go. Once we get it approved, the next day, we're gonna put
But
it
the
in.
current one's on the website?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I just want to double check.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
this one's available in the packet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stribling.
Absolutely.
That's all the information items that we have.
On the unfinished business board, is there any unfinished business? Dr. Kelly?
None, I am sorry for not responding. I was coughing.
Okay. Board, any new business?
No, right, no.
Right, so on to 11 action items. Or do you want to approve A, B, and C all together, or you want to do them single or?
I'm fine doing them all together.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'm sorry, can we do that? Do we need, I think we need a separate motion for each of them.
Okay,
I don't want to make your life harder. I just don't want to have the votes invalidated later.
okay. We can do separate.
Why don't I make a motion that we approve the VSBA Fluvanna policy updates presented on May 8, 2024 with the addition of the policy update. Sorry, I'm looking for the number. JHCF student wellness from our first review policies.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Okay, passes 4-0. On the action item B. Entertain a motion for that.
I move to approve the Title 1, 2, and 3, and 4 grant application as proposed.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Passes 4-0. On to action item C. I entertain a motion for that.
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the 2024 BSBA membership fees due on July 1st, 2024.
I'll second.
All right, I have a second from Mr. Reed. Any discussion on that? All those,
I'll just,
go ahead, Dr. Kelly, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. Sorry, I might have a little bit of a delay. I will acknowledge that, that other divisions are having issues and or policies related to VSBA. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and I fully acknowledge and respect those considerations. I believe that we voted to continue these services because we don't have a fabulous alternative yet, and I will continue to make myself available to any board member to talk about and or explore other alternatives moving forward. I just don't think we're ready to switch horses yet.
Thanks, Dr. Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No. It passes 4-0. Thank you. All right, on to 12, on to public comments. Once again, we have a 2-hour section. You have up to 3 minutes. Anybody from the audience who would like to come speak? Okay, we'll close that section. On to 13, school board member comments. I'll start with Dr. Kelly.
Sure. Thank you. I want to thank the staff and especially the operations team in moving forward and working hard on these summer-based projects. We have got a small window of time. As our friend said, summers seem like they're getting shorter and shorter, and so we have a very small window to do some important work. I'll express my personal apologies to Dr. Stribling that I might have been a bit unkind and or anxious related to the middle school track. I'm very passionate about fixing that for our community and for our students. And I'm someone who wants to run headfirst in and try to fix problems. And so to the extent that I can be useful, I again avail myself. And I heard some public comments tonight, and I've heard from other board members about the tone and or sensitivity related to our last board meeting. I will leave it to other board members as it relates to sort of the interaction with public during board meetings. I will note that I am not ashamed in any way, shape, or form for my tone and or the content of my remarks last month. Whether or not he or anyone else, and I haven't heard from him, whether or not any board member thinks that I was disrespectful to the chair, I will note that I looked the man in the eye. I talked about issues. I tried to break it down into pieces. I didn't use hyperbole or harsh language, and that I was trying to dissect the importance of appearance of impropriety to the extent that that is unseemly or people are uncomfortable with that level of discourse. I'd say buckle up, because when issues are important, they need to be discussed, and they need to be discussed respectfully. And I will continue to voice concern. I will continue to analyze issues, and I will continue to do so by looking you directly in the eyes and having those conversations. And I believe fundamentally that this is the forum for that. That is public discourse, and we are duly elected members, every single one of us. And so I hope that we can get comfortable with disagreement and have those conversations respectfully. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Mr. Reed.
I've got a couple things. First, I think the biggest thing is I would love to be able to speak to our staff. And I'm just going to address this and leave it as this. I would love to be able to speak to our staff, with our staff, not to them, speak with our staff, because we are in this together, without having to get past the what happened at the school board meeting last night kind of conversations. I'd love to just be able to get to it and chat about that. What is going on? How can we better the schools? How can we be here for the children in the community without having to get past the, man, can you believe that went on? So I've made this comment a couple of months ago. I'll stick to it. I agree. We should have discourse. We should have public discourse. I agree that disagreement is very good for us. I do think very strongly that it can be done in the right forum and in the right capacity. And with the, in the back of our minds, always keeping it right there that we are the forefront and a very public voice of the schools, and all of the staff see it from the top to the bottom. And what goes on at school board meetings does not stay here in this room. It goes into the community, it goes into the schools, it goes into the walls with the schools. And when we conduct ourselves in certain manners, they see it. And it impacts future hirings that we can make for this county. It impacts teachers who are considering teaching here. It impacts teachers who are teaching here and whether or not they want to continue teaching here. So disagreement is great. If we had 5 board members that voted unanimous with everything, quite frankly, there'd be no reason for anybody to attend because they'd be some of the most boring school board meetings on the planet. And they'd be really efficient, but they'd be really boring. So disagreement is great. We need to figure out a way as a school board to make sure that that is not the first thing that's spoken about every time somebody discusses a school board. I'll end it on this. I hope summer break is going fantastic for everybody who is on summer break. Last week I had the chance to volunteer at the basketball camp at the high school with Coach Brawley and Coach Ward. Speaking of the community aspect of what we do, I think it was awesome seeing the schools and the community working together. I know that camp was a fairly new camp for it to be offered to the community, and I hope to see a lot more of that coming from the schools in the future because our kids really benefit from having those services, especially in the summertime, but just throughout the year. They really benefit from it. So I look forward to more of that.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Rittenhouse.
Yeah, I do want to apologize to everybody for the way I acted at last school board meeting. But that being said, I thoroughly enjoyed the graduation. I believe we had a record number of students. Isn't that right, Mr. Gratz?
In quite some time, yes.
Yeah. But it was very nice. Appreciate it. Good day, and it happened pretty quick. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. I'll just end it by saying, thank all the staff at Fluvanna County Public Schools for a wonderful year, and we look forward to another fantastic year. So we have some information items, A, B, the SBA newsletter, upcoming events. Then we have Fluvanna County Public School press release and upcoming events. Please look at all the events that's coming up, even though it's summertime. On the 15th, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you for everybody who came tonight.
Good evening, all.